Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe football show. Look, I'm in that much of a good mood because of Leeds 3-point that stopped the countdown early. Because even still to this day, people get angry at the countdown. What the fuck are you counting for? They're like, chill out, man. It is what it is. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy today because, of course, Leeds United went to the Den, a place they haven't won since 2012, and went there and battered, tamed the Lions. And it's just great to be a Leeds fan again today. All the content that you can watch, everyone's happy. Kate was just saying off there, there's too many smiles going on right now, but that's what Leeds United can do for us. You can even bask in the glory of seeing Zebedee, the bouncing Millwall fan, and all that sort of stuff. So it's just been a great 24 hours. And long may it continue because we play again on Wednesday. We're probably going to pick up 3 points. I reckon we're going to go unbeaten now for the rest of the season. It is what it is. But nah, the good times are here, folks. As always, pay your rent, smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. We've got faces new and old today. Everyone's links are in the description. I think they are. Maybe I'll need to adjust a few. We've got Ollie Ward. Ollie, I think this might be your debut, although according to Andrea, you've been here every week. So
yeah, I don't really know. I'm going to say it is, and for that, hello.
Yeah, he was here. He was.
Okay.
He was.
I trust
Don't take his debut away from him, man.
I was going to say, this is my big moment.
Two debutants, actually, because we got a good friend of mine, Danny from Not Another Leeds pod. Danny, how are you doing?
I'm ecstatic, mate. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't think we've done a video together. Oh, no, I came on your channel, didn't I? But Danny used to be on All Leeds TV for those that aren't aware. And obviously, he's got his own channel now, which is a hoot. And they have regular guests on a Friday. So make sure you check that out. Not Another Leeds pod. Of course, we spoke to Andrea and Lockie. I speak to them more than I speak to my dogs. To be fair, they're just a constant in my life. And we have the returning Kate. Kate, it is lovely to see you back. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Listen, I've missed it. I've missed domestic football so much. I was triggered. I was severely triggered during the international break. It was awful.
Yeah.
I felt sort of cast adrift, but now we're all back. We're all good. We've got like loads of games to look forward to, so I am good to go.
Exactly. Same. Before we do go around, Joe just said, where did you get the Leeds t-shirt from? This actually was it's from All Leeds TV. I'm officially what they call now, I'm going to give, I call myself the self-proclaimed hardest working man in the YouTube game. I'm now officially what you call an influencer because I got a message. I'm saying this tongue in cheek, but I got a message from Tash about an hour ago to say you're a legend. I said, why? She went, you had the t-shirt on earlier on, and we had 4 buys. So, I mean, what can I say at this stage, folks? I am the real deal. You know what I mean?
Are you on commission, Joe? Is that what it is?
I was going to say.
No, to be fair, I did message her and say, "Oh, it's all good. Now, where's my money, bitch?" But no, she didn't sort me anything out. I just got a free t-shirt. But no, I kid, of course. But yeah, you can get that over at All Leeds TV. Lockie, you're looking very tired, mate. Like you've just woke up. So therefore, I'm going to come to you first.
Nice. Lovely.
How are you feeling after that fantastic result?
I need sleep is the difference. I've been up since 7 o'clock. Don't work in football. It's just long. You work literally. You come home, you're still working. Yeah. But anyway, it's fun though. Yeah, great. Honestly, like just helps, doesn't it? It just helps your week when Leeds win.
Yeah.
Not even win, just play well and just actually like dominate a team. When last time we did that, it was Chelsea. That was the last time we won a comfortable game of football. How wild is that? So honestly, mate, I don't look it. I am buzzing. I'm in a great mood.
Yeah, you certainly don't. You certainly don't look it, mate. You look like you should be laid horizontal right now. I can't lie to you.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Good. I'm glad it's all good. Ollie, man, 2 clean sheets in a row. What's happened? We've learned how to defend all of a sudden, right?
I know. It just feels weird, doesn't it? It feels weird. 3 points, a clean sheet, and we played well. It feels it just doesn't feel right. But you know, we thoroughly deserved the 3 points, and I think the clean sheet in the end. I thought the defending, you know, yesterday was magnificent. I'm sure we'll get into it, but yeah, no, it feels great, and I can't wait for Wednesday now. I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. It's right. It's right that we need Kate. Go on, like you have a positive result, and it's like, right, when's the next one now? Bring it on.
No, you look forward to the next game instead of dreading it, basically.
Yeah,
you know, for so long, I've dreaded the next game, thinking, oh my God, it's just going to be the same. And I've got to say, at the very, very beginning of yesterday, I thought, God, here we go again. And then we turned it around. And yeah, it's great. It's great to like enjoy watching Leeds, and they played so well yesterday. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it, Danny? Because even when we won games under Jesse last season, you always knew that the next one was just going to be rock hard again. Do you know what I mean? It was never like, oh, we've won a game, maybe we'll win a few. It was always like, oh, God. So it almost feels like Leeds United under Farke, say it quietly, might be back, mate.
How Jesse was the natural successor to Marcelo is beyond me. It's like trying to put a cat and a dog together in a room and say, play nicely. And it just doesn't work. And I think Farke is the person, is the person who should have been there. But when you did get a win under Jesse, it was like, so how did we fluke that? Do you know what I mean? It's just, if he's not shouting at the bench, they're scared. You know, if he's not doing that, then
yeah. Exactly. You're right, mate. You're right. And Andrea, buddy, we didn't get a chance to catch up after the game because I had to shoot off. Yeah. But how you been? Are you buzzing?
Good. Yeah. I just got home because I was filming with my friends the basketball program we film. It's called #ABC Arsenality Basket Club. Go check it out on YouTube. Free advertising, great. No, I
hope you know after my influencer status, that's going to cost you. You know, that's actually going to cost you that.
No. So I was out. I was checking the sound because I brought the mic with me. But yeah, I was yesterday. Of course, we told me, you and Loki during half time. I saw that you went absolutely mental after we scored those 2 goals on the watch along. Yeah, it was exciting. Especially the way we built up those 2 goals, you know, especially in London, because we never win in London.
Yeah.
At Millwall, we know it's their cup final basically, and we've seen Mr. Trampoline Man
it was so
jumping to because he was angry about the result. But yeah, looking at ourselves, in the end, it was refreshing. Gave us a lot of confidence going towards Wednesday. We saw for various parts of the game Farke ball, and that's what is the best thing coming out of yesterday for me, because really we adapted well to various situations. And I was boasting yesterday after the game, honestly, especially because players who needed a confidence boost, like Rutter, for example, scored. Rutter was he was voted, of course, as the best player on the pitch. I think he was in the end, because basically he gave 2 assists, you know, and scored, basically. And just glad because, like you said, Farke seems to be the one, like I tweeted yesterday, he brought back togetherness, and you can sense that in the team. Everybody going to the fans to salute them at the end of the game together, and Farke joined them. We have just started. The sensation is that after this result we have just started, and our league campaign really starts now, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Because look, Daniel Farke said, didn't he? Wait till August is going to be tough. We got to 1st of September. We've not lost a game yet. Do you know what I mean? I know we've only played 2, but we've drawn and we've won 1. So this is when the season started for Leeds, and we've got 4 points in the bag. Just on the Millwall fan, just bouncing. I was laughing my head off, but then at the same time, I was thinking he even got done up by his fellow fans who were clearly stood behind him, who decided to take the video and put it on Twitter. So I was like, even they thought you were.
There was one shadow boxing behind him. It was like,
so funny, man. Like that, I'm gonna get you outside.
yeah, that is not good. You know, they always do that. It's
they always
unacceptable.
do, mate. It's funny.
But you know, in the end, it's really disappointing that those things still happens. But yeah, you know, they just judge themselves by doing that. You know, they just present themselves as that, not a good image for the world fan base, which is actually a good fan base in the end. That it's just individuals, you know.
Yeah, EFL family of the club 2020, I think they were. I remember it well and thinking, what the? But anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, listen, I'm going to come to you, Lockie, first. And the reason I'm going to do that is, mate, because in the big match preview, both me and Andrea said we didn't think Rutter should start. We felt the occasion might be a bit too big for him. We felt he might wilt. And I feel that you deserve your flowers in this situation because he was absolutely brilliant yesterday. And you've been banging the drum since the start of the season. So, yeah, tell us about Rutter's performance, mate.
Like, I think if anything, that showed. And there were reasonable doubts that you had. I'm not saying they weren't. I was worried myself. Will he do this? But I think this shows now if he can do it away at Millwall, I don't think any team's going to phase him this season. To me now, it's all about just him, just keep improving on what he does. Because I've always said it since, like I said, I used to watch him during lockdown when I had the Bundesliga. I could watch a lot of it, and he'd come on and this player just play with freedom. And he had that smile on his face that he did yesterday. He used to play like that. And when he came to Leeds, we didn't see that person. And I'm just thinking, he's not going to be able to perform well if he's not happy. And you've got to be happy to play well, and he just wasn't. And for obvious reasons, his age, he didn't speak English. And by the way, his English now is much, but he's massively working on that. You can tell. He's put fair play to him. Yeah. And he just looks happy and free on the pitch again. I think he likes his role. I think Farke's worked on that with him and try to find the role for him where he can be free and use his attributes to his best ability. And what we're seeing now, he will be inconsistent still. He won't play like that every week. We need to be aware. We'll have games where he'll miss one-on-ones and stuff like that. But if we get that guy for the most part of this season, I know I went a bit risky with my player of the year, but if he continues to perform at that level more often than not, he's up there for me because the talent of him, just the raw talent is, for me, in terms of ceiling and where a football can go in this side, I think he's the highest. I think he's brilliant. Really? In terms of ceiling.
So we're talking even over Nonto, Somerville, you think he's got bigger ceiling,
And that's what I was thinking, talking about Nonto. I was talking about him today, and I think he's never been the best attacker on the pitch this season. He's not been bad. No, he's not been the best. You know what I mean? This is kind of his level at this point in his career, I think. And I think that's good for his development. But I think what we've seen with Rutter is the inconsistency. But if you can just change that and make him more consistent at that level we saw yesterday, this league's too easy for him.
Yeah. Not here. No, it's great. And I think there is a conversation to be had about that because...
Sorry. Archie Gray, I forgot to mention. Archie Gray's level is... Archie Gray's ceiling is probably...
As well as...
Can I say something about Rutter, about what Lucky said?
Go on then, go.
Yeah, just a quick one. I think the positioning and the free movement that he had yesterday was way different from the other games, and that was from Farke. Lucky usually says we need to trust Farke. Yeah, absolutely. Because yesterday we saw that. Yeah, it's brilliant. And yesterday we saw that. And unlike what happened with Wednesday, Rutter had a lot of free movement and he led a lot of counter attacks. He was unplayable for them, like someone said in the chat in the specific part of the game, and he was instrumental for us. So I want to see more of him playing all around, honestly, because he's not a 9 clearly. As an all-around player, he's been brilliant yesterday. Best player on the pitch, yeah.
Even the defensive work as well, he did once or twice yesterday. He's bringing that side of his game out now. It just looks really confident. And I know people like, you want it, but when you just see someone happy, and when he comes off the pitch and he's smiling like that, that's a player that knows he's feeling good right now. And let's keep it up.
I couldn't contain my own joy seeing his joy as he was coming off the pitch. Like, it was just so lovely. Like, he was trying to like hold it in, and then I think Joffrey was like laughing at him, like, yeah, and he went, he just sort of broke out. I was just like, this is
Who
class.
did that of a celebration?
I did
no
it.
reason.
I always do it me as well, man. And I watch it back sometimes, and I think, stop being a tick, yo. But I was going, look at Rutter doing this, and then like he went like that with his shirt, and I'm going, yeah, Rutter. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. Big kid, big kid. Yeah. The low noise you can hear will be the dogs, folks. Unfortunately, as you know, the setup's all over the shop, so the mic doesn't have the sound cancellation. So if you hear the old grumble, it's the dogs, not the curry, as Christopher says. They're snoring away on the couch next to me here. Yeah. Does anyone else have any thoughts on just Rutter? Because he does seem to have massively turned a corner, right? And we look like we're getting a player on our hands that's going to be allowed time to grow, right? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I think going forward yesterday, he seemed comfortable, basically comfortable in his own skin. Games before, particularly the Sheffield Wednesday one, he looked a little bit lost. He seemed to know exactly what he was doing. They'd obviously been practicing some of those little sort of passages of play, and he knew what was expected of him, and the footwork and the the touches leading up to that first goal. I mean, I actually couldn't believe what I was watching, to be honest. It was so well executed and intuitive and just like natural. And I'd always questioned, I mean, not that I bloody know, look, what am I? I always say, what am I? I'm just a fan. But at the end of the day, it's literally, the guy for me didn't necessarily seem to have a footballing brain, but I saw it in action on Sunday. So he was great. And what Lockie says is quite right. Although I did have him starting on Sunday, but like I say, probably yeah. What do I know? Do you know what I mean?
Go on, Kate. You've got to take your wins, haven't you, love? You've got to take your wins when you can get them. I hear you. But no, I get what you're saying, Kate, because at times I remember I likened him to like running like a giraffe. He was all arms and legs and didn't really know where he was going. Whereas when you see the build-up, Ollie, to that first goal, the way that so like when Nonto's giving him the ball, he could have easily took it on himself, but he knew, he just waited, and then perfect way to pass into Pirro, because he knew Pirro's going to be in a better position than me. And when you actually watch that goal back, it's actually a better finish than what I gave it credit for at the time. So he's coming on. And that first goal, Ollie, was just peak Farke ball. Forget peak Bielsa ball. It was peak Farke ball, right? It was like Bielsa ball, though, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was fantastic, and it started from the Ailing header, and then it came out, and I just love a player who can use both feet. I watched Rutter, and I don't know what foot he is, and I think sometimes he can pick up a ball and he can ping it out to the left with his left, or ping it out to the right with his right. So I just thought the first goal was fantastic. And like you said, I think it's the non-greedy side when I don't think he was ever. The thing is, I still don't feel like I've not like watched enough of him. Yeah, I still think he's had decent games, of course, and he's had poor games. I need to still see more, and I think he is getting his credit he deserves, but I still do need to see more. It needs to become more consistent. But even for the second goal, he wasn't greedy again. He saw Dan James in a in a better area, and obviously Dan James done what whatever that was, and then obviously Pirro stuck it away. But yeah, no, I just think he had a hell of a game. Listen, he had a hell of a game yesterday, and we're starting to see, that 35 million being spent right, I think. And I think it's the pressure. I think Lockie said it again with freedom. He looks like he's playing with just, freedom. That's just what goals can do. Goals and assists, playing well. It's just what he can do. And I think he's going to be, a hell of a player for us if he can, keep fit and stay consistent.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely, Danny. The mad thing is as well, like you spoke about Dan James there, did Ollie, and the mad thing is we have options now. The fact that we could turn to the bench and bring on Gruyev, Kamara, Jadon Anthony and Dan James just shows now for me like this squad is stacked and arguably better than last season's.
Oh, 100%. This squad absolutely batters last season's squad without a doubt. I think with Rutter, I think the main thing is that he seems to be enjoying his football, and his confidence breeds confidence, and you can see that in his football. And just on the Dan James no-look assist, come on, he did that on purpose. You can't. I'm not having that. But I think that this squad's far better, and it just missing like the odd thing, like left back. Yeah, we just don't seem to buy them anymore.
Maybe we don't need one anymore. We have got Sam Byram, aka Alexander Zinchenko, so we don't need one anymore. I thought Bamford not Bamford. I thought Byram was phenomenal. I've heard takes that
he played like
was
Zinchenko
non-existent
in terms of positioning, of course. Also, Cancelo, when he played for City and he used to go central, similar. Yeah,
we don't. Honestly, the guy's the real deal, man. But it's just his fitness, innit? It's just his fitness.
Yeah, it's his fitness. And there were times where we started the action from the back, and the ball went to Byram. Then we changed the side. The ball went back to the left side, and I found Byram standing in the final third. I said to myself, how did he got there? It was like 2 seconds ago, 5 seconds ago, he was like back in the back four. You know, how did he get there? Yeah.
Do you know what else I noticed as well? Do you know what else I noticed as well, Andrea? Right, there was one moment he had the ball, and Nonto was running at the fullback to receive the ball, but it was almost running too far. And like Byram had the ball at his feet and sort of like told him to come back, and then he gave it him, and he's sort of like coaching him through the game as well. And it's like he did that, and then we ended up getting it out to the right. And I'm just thinking his experience sort of like is invaluable for me. And I think, what an astute buy in the end. What an astute buy.
Yeah, I've always liked Sam Byram. Like I know you have, Joe, when he was first here. I know you mentioned it. Like when I watched Leeds when I was young, he was like kind of in that team, kind of my kind of idol when I was a young lad.
Yeah, he was my favorite too. Yeah,
I loved him, and it was never a talent problem with Sam Byram. It was just a fitness one and a consistency one. And when he was fit, those were the issues. And look, I'm not going to say they're all going to go away. We've already seen it. He will miss a lot of games of injury, but this is his first game back from injury, and he didn't look like he's been away. He looked so sharp, and I don't know what. He just seemed to play with a lot more freedom again yesterday. What we've seen from Sam Byram recently is he's played well, he's played safe. 1v1, he's brilliant in terms of against a defender. He's brilliant 1v1. But just going forward, like you said, he just took that inverted role. And I mentioned when we had Shaq and Nonto on the left, there was a bit of a gap in the middle where we didn't. Sam Byram now will follow in there, and Sam Byram will pick the right time to go into that area and just create space. And then Nonto can have 1v1s more. And well, he tried yesterday, but he got literally booted or clotheslined every 5 seconds, didn't he? Honestly, terrible.
Yeah, it was. But at the same time, I don't mind it if you're going to be consistent. And there was one where he said to Nonto, like 1, 2, 3. I told you, and he didn't book Nonto, so I didn't mind the. It was frustrating because they were just blocking off runs, but the fact that bloody Wallace left back, and Leonard, the fact they didn't get booked, was ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe Lucky were fuming.
Oh, in the group chat,
Lucky was absolutely fuming in the chat yesterday.
Was there even any?
He was on a solo battle.
No, there's not one, mate. Not one yellow card.
No, unbelievable. 19 fouls, not a single bookable offense. Yeah, that's mental. In the EFL,
because he left his cards at home.
He might have forgotten. It was mad that there weren't any, but I guess I was just happy that we didn't get any. Because if we'd have got some, then I would have been incensed. Because I'd have been like, "Well, hang on a minute," because they've been due one. Just obviously the defensively. Now I got Kate. Actually, I'll come back to you. I got mocked, mugged off. For celebrating a clean sheet against Sheff Wednesday. But as Danny said earlier, confidence breeds confidence. And surely us getting that clean sheet against Sheff Wednesday, that's now 2 on the bounce. And not only that, I think yesterday, Kate, I don't think the defence looked like they were going to be bothered at all. And I have real confidence in that backline now.
Me too. I mean, obviously there was a few little moments early on, but I think that some people have said it was a fluke against Wednesday, but it doesn't really matter. It was a clean sheet at the end of the day. This is 2 now, as you say. I thought that Rodon and Stroy yesterday was superb. The way they that clearance by Stroik off the line when Meslier that was fouled, and that ball went sort of behind him. I mean, that was superb. And Joe Rodon again, literally heading, those two guys headed the amount of clearances they headed out of the box. They were heading everything that came into sight. Ayling, you can't forget that that beautiful ball that he played down to Dan James to set up that the third goal, Rutter's goal, which was great. And like you've just been talking about Byram. So yeah, I thought it was absolutely spot on, really. Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of little moments from here and there, but generally speaking, I thought they did a great job and fantastic to keep a clean sheet. Clean sheet, 3 goals. I mean, what the hell?
Exactly. And I just think as well, personally, there's going to be more to come. Like, it's not as if I don't feel that this result was a flash in the pan. I feel like this is something that we'll see more often. And I hope that's going to be
building, though, can't you, Joe? So you can see it building, and you can see that there is a plan. They have a plan, and they're playing to the plan.
Yeah,
it's beautiful to watch.
And like you say, the build up to the goals, unselfishness, Danny, with the team, in terms of the passes that were played. Like, Rutter could have easily, like was mentioned, taken both strikes and cut it back to Dan James. Dan James, I mean, I don't know. To be fair to Dan James, I do want to say this on that second one, having watched it back, he does really, really well to actually, because the ball's behind him and he has to dig it out in order to get a touch on it. And look, maybe he was trying to, well, of course he should have scored. But my point is, like, he still does really well in order to dig it out and it falls to Pirro. But I just feel, Danny, that over the course of, the season, that cohesion, that interplay is just going to become better and better between the team in the front line, and we're going to score more goals.
Yeah, it's really hard to think that now, come end of the season, we're going to be unbeaten. It's crazy. I just feel like it's just time and patience as fans. We need to just wait, and we also, I mean, obviously, Bielsa had everything in place, and the pre-seasons, etc. But with Farke, it's been bumpy at first, and now we're starting to see that gel, that team cohesion, like you said. That first goal, I've been playing it over and over and over, and I just how Pirro just jumps over the ball as he goes, and Rutter just straight away, just elegantly just places it, and the touch before the shot as well, and he's already wheeling away before it's gone in the net, and it's just like, oh, we've missed that so much. If that were under Jesse Marsch, it'd have gone for a throw-in. Do you know what I mean? It's just. It's
so
just
true.
Really good.
Yeah.
Like, in 20 games time, we'll be like, wow, who can we pick for the man of the match? That's the way I feel at the minute. That's all my Leeds United bias coming out, but
no, it's true. It's true. Andre, it makes a great point there, Danny, because if you look at, I know it's sort of like who scored rating and this sofa score rating, but there's like Leeds players dotted out in them all. You've got Meslier in one, you've got Ampadu in another, you've got Pirro and Rutter in one, and then there's also Road on it. Like, at the minute, no one can put a foot wrong, really. I mean, of course, look, I do believe that if Spence was in ahead of Ayling, they'd get even less joy than they get, if I'm being honest, because Spence is that good. But ultimately, the squad at the minute, it's just, for me, it's levels above what we're going to face, maybe bar 2 teams from a man-to-man perspective, and that's Southampton and Leicester for me. Okay, they might be better teams, but in terms of man-to-man, I don't think there's many better squads than ours, Andrea.
Yeah, I agree. And as long as Farke transforms Rutter like he played yesterday in that position, in an all-round player, and Byram stays fit, we are covered in all the positions, basically, because Gray has shown that yesterday. I was really surprised against a physical, aggressive team. He showed that he can play week in and week out and be consistent, because his intelligence on the pitch, his smartness is really surprising for a 17-year-old. It's every time it amazes you when you watch him play. and we're covering in every area. Yesterday we started with Gnonto and Somerville. We finished with Anthony and James.
Mm-hmm.
When Bamford will return and Joseph will return, we'll have 2 other options for Piroe and Rutter in those positions, and we have Gallard too. So it's also good that those youngsters, are products of the academy, like Byram, Shackleton, Gray. It's good to see a team with player like yesterday, Byram and Gray, Leeds made players, products of the academy, playing well in the team. Because it's also good. We had Crest from the bench too. We have Cooper returning. We are covered everywhere. The only criticity is basically the left back position, because Byram is playing great when he's fit. If he's not fit, you have Shackleton as an option, and he's proven that he can play there. And then you have Thurp returning. If Meslier doesn't play well or gets injured, you have Darlow. We had Spence on the right for Ailing, and now he's injured, of course. And we have these different options too, because yesterday what made the difference too when we scored those 2 goals in the end were the substitutions too, because we were in the moment of the game where we needed to defend. We were defending and counter-attacking, and those substitutions made just click for us in that specific part of the game when we needed to counter-attack. And don't press, because what I noticed is that under Farke, these teams used to press high. It was an oriented pressing, but the current pressing is not as oriented as it was and as high as it was when it was at Norwich and at Gladbach. I like it because we don't get out of formation. We are always composed and organized in every moment of the pitch. Compare also to the first matches. It's good that, because it shows you, because yesterday we were really composed and organized. It shows you that Farke has really worked with the team. He has already taken advice for what happened in the first games of the season. And we've seen already yesterday changes in the way we play, in the way we control the game when we were up, because it was the first time we scored first. And also we've shown that our bench can really make the difference, because we've seen that with James yesterday. We've seen that with Anthony when Gnonto wasn't breaking through yesterday in that specific moment. And again, we brought on Anthony, a player we can play great one-on-one. He's done that in the past in the Championship. We are covered everywhere. If we wanted to get more box to box, to adapt, to cover, to defend the 1-0, we would have played with Ampadu and Grujev. We have options now. We can play in various situations. We can play also sometimes with a 4-4-2. There were times when Rutter and Piro were basically one next to the other. I said it yesterday during the watch along. The most intriguing thing for me is that our formation, of course, you have starting roles, but the players move a lot.
Yeah,
the players move. Look, the example is Somerville and Rutter. Somerville started as a right winger. He moved if you look at his heat map, more centrally. Rutter started in the 10, or in the 9, then moved to the 10, switching with Piroe. He moved, he went back, carried the ball, lead the counter-attack. It's really a fluid and hybrid formation, and I really like that. Now I think we're starting to see a cohesion and a defined style of football which can be changed in certain situations, and the team seems to really believe the philosophy of Farke. And I think like I said previously, we have just started. We're just getting started. I've did these 3 points,
Yeah. One thing I really liked, and this is all on Daniel Farke. When Millwall, you see the start of the game, that was, they were always going to come out for us, let's be honest. That was their only chance to really get in front. More or less in the second half, where they had periods of on the ball, they did. But I think we were all right with that, because we identified all they're going to try to do on the right is cross the ball in from deep. All they were going to do on the left is that lad we're going to cut inside and have a shot from 35 yards out. Every time that ball came into that box, we headed it away. Every time. And because they got confident, then we knew when we win that second ball, there's a counter run and we'll score a goal. And we scored, 3 goals from it in the end? That's Daniel Farke recognising, like you said, Andre, we don't always have to press high. We don't always have to be aggressive. There's times where we can sit a little bit, sort the pressure, because we have players who can not only keep possession, but can counter. And that's good coaching. That's a coach that really is starting to understand these players and how in different scenarios we can be effective. Like I say, when we play a team like a Leicester or something like that, and Southampton, who rely on possession, there might be times in the game like that. We'll figure out, have the ball for a little bit. But if it comes anywhere near that box, we're going to win that. And Ampadu dropped quite deep in areas and just won it. And then once we attack with them 4 players, we're unstoppable.
Yeah, and Ampadu, I'm glad you mentioned him because it's the epitome, the symbol of what we just said. You know, his certain situation, he was almost like near the defensive line, the center backs, but he was also the one giving verticality to the team in order to start those counter attacks. Double dimension. That's like the symbol of what this team is. You know.
He was phenomenal yesterday, and I think we're guilty of not. I mean, we do laud him, but what I'm saying is, it's like he's that good, like Calvin was, that he can sometimes go under the radar. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we just expect it from him, Ollie. Like Ampadu, you know, he just pops up out of nowhere. Do you know? And I'm not saying the players are similar before anyone loses the shit and says what a bad take. But my point is, I remember watching West Ham a lot, right? And I'm laughing as I'm saying this. But what I'm saying is, whenever there would be a loose ball and it would drop in a box, Declan Rice would always be there. And I just feel that Ampadu's similar in that respect, just because whenever there's a loose ball, whenever there's a block, he's always the one that seems to be there. Right place, right time. I guess it's anticipation and reading the game and knowing where balls are going to drop. But for me, Ollie, what a player, and 7 million. Like they spent 100 and odd million on Caicedo and all this. Like, I'm not saying he's on their level, but I'm just saying when you compare it in terms of what we paid for him, it's insane, man.
Yeah, I can't believe it's taken us 35 minutes to talk about him. You know, he was. Again, absolutely fantastic. My player of the season so far. And I get exactly what you say. We kind of just expect good performances from him now because he keeps delivering. Ever since his debut, I think, was it... Who did he play? We played someone in a friendly. Who was it?
Monaco,
yeah.
Probably.
Forest.
Was it Monaco?
Forest
Game, that's it. He was just insane in that, and I just knew we had a hell of a player on our hands. I think he is, if we can keep on to him, he's a future captain. I think he brings Archie. I've always feel like, you know, Archie Gray is a fantastic player, and he's got the ceiling, and he's fantastic. But I think, you know, having Ampadu next to him, like he plays like he's been playing for. He plays like a 34-year-old player. He plays like he's got bags of experience, and he does have bags of experience. And like you said, £7 million for a player like that, it just seems it's an absolute steal. And like you said, he's always there. He's passing. It's the technical ability for a holder midfielder as well. It's just, you know, I just watch him and I'm in awe of him because he's genuinely a fantastic footballer. He's always getting his head there. He's getting into tackles. He's just the perfect midfielder that you need. And like everyone's touched on, we've got so much, you know, depth now. We've got Gruev, we've got Glenn Kamara, we've got other people who can fill in them positions. But I just don't see, you know, them two at the moment getting dropped in the middle of the park because they've been arguably our two best players this season. And, you know, Ethan Ampadu again was just fantastic Sunday.
You know what, Joe? I got so much stick from Leeds fans on Twitter who argued with me. Literally, they replied to me all day about Ampadu to try and prove he's not one of the best.
Tell him, bro. Tell him.
I already did. Like, what? I get right. Let me just. They're comparing him to Dewsbury Hall, right? Leicester, who I genuinely like. I think he's a brilliant player. I do. But Leicester fans will tell you for weeks he's not performing at the level he should. Ampadu is performing at the level he should, and he can literally do everything. Ampadu can do everything. Look, we talk about defensive work. Let's talk about the assists he's been robbed of this season. 2 or 3 passes where he's led to clear one-on-ones for players who have missed. This guy is, and I've got a guy at football who follows Wales a lot. You know, goes to all the games. Future captain, he said, for them. He plays just so well for Wales. He controls midfield. Ampadu can do anything, and he's so complete as a player. That's what I love about him. There's other players in the leagues in that position that are better in certain areas, but he's just really good in every area. There's generally not a weakness, probably shooting. But apart from that, because his shooting, I have to keep him humble. You know what I mean? His shooting's terrible. But every other aspect of his game is genuinely. He's the best midfielder in the league, and I'll die on that hill. I just think he is.
No, I agree.
I'll die with you, mate. I'll die with you. Don't worry.
It was a pass yesterday.
He's a Premier League player. No doubt. He's a Premier League player playing in the Championship.
People saying like, "Oh, it's just because you're just bigging up Leeds." I'm bigging up him. I'm not saying every player in our team's the best in the league, but he's the best central midfielder in the Championship.
You're not saying every player is best in the league, but man for man, they're definitely in the top one. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm not saying for example,
Brian Clough.
Rutt's the best
Brian Clough.
player in the league. Yeah.
Or
Or Byram's the best left back, but the best centre midfielder is Ethan Ampadu, and I don't care what anyone says.
Byram's the best inverted left back, man. Go on, Danny. What were you going to say, mate?
I agree with everything Lockie and Ollie just said. I mean, first of all, I want to know who negotiated that deal because I need my mortgage renewing soon, so I want them on my side. And it just like it comes like a lot of people have said this. A lot might not agree, but he's a successor to Phillips that we needed. And you can just tell his play that he wants to be. Even it sounds silly, but even when he sprayed his first pass, I thought, wow, it had venom, it had precision. You know, it had everything that you want from a midfielder. And instead, you know, you've got Aronson. I mean, I know the wind is strong in Germany.
I can't even put them in the same sentence, Dan.
I actually seen, right? I hate to do this, right? But big up Chris Kelly for this, by the way. I don't know if he's just got married or whatever, but he's on a beach with his missus and he's leant against her. And Chris Kelly like put it out and said basically like he even needs his missus to hold him up when out in the wind. Do you know what I mean? Because we know what he's like for staying on his feet.
Aronson's the only player that has a stat for ground minutes. Do you know what I mean? Because he's on the floor. Anyway, I bully him enough. I'm not going to say anymore.
Yeah, it is what it is. These
Did he have
our players, by the way?
Is it right in saying did Aronson have like 9 shots on target in like 30 games or something?
Yes.
Did I see that?
That's the
36
start.
games, 9 shots on target. My wig blew off when I heard that.
That was, I remember. I thought that was fake when I saw that.
No. We checked it. It's true.
Wow.
Straight from the Not Another Leeds pod, that weren't it, mate? You know what I mean?
Exclusive.
I love it. Right. Listen, I want to get serious now, though, because I feel that as good as Joe Rodon's been, right, I've seen some wild takes today. Some are saying he's better than Ben White. Massively disagree, because Ben White's same age as him and he's playing at Arsenal, and Joe Rodon's on loan at Leeds in the Championship. So let's not do that. And I also think, and I don't think this is a wild take, and I don't know if it's because he's a brand new shiny toy and everyone's like, look at Joe Rodon. I would argue that Pascal Struijk's been better than him this season.
Go on, Ollie.
I personally disagree.
Okay.
Only because I believe I'll start off with you first on Ben White. I think we're seeing similar vibes to Ben White, as in I believe it's a thing where we're going to fall in love with him and he's going to go back and he can pass it out. He can play from out the back. He's very good in the air. I think he's more physical than Ben White was. I think he's been good. I rate Pascal. I do. I do think if there was a mistake coming in that back line, including Aylan there yesterday, I do think it was coming down Pascal's side. I think a few times he was beaten to the ball a bit too easily by their strikers. I believe sometimes he still doesn't know, if to go with his foot or his head. And then when he headed out for a corner, I still believe Pascal has got, a mistake in him. I still do rate him and he's still young. And you could probably argue maybe he's had... I don't know if he's had the better start between both of them. I think they've both been okay. Like they've both been good, and there's still plenty more games to go. But no, I don't know. I personally think Joe Rodon's better. But there we go. That's up for debate. But that's why we're here, isn't it, Joe? That's why we're here.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I wanted to ask the question genuinely. Just before Lockie, you come back in, mate. Tom says Struijk's only good because that's so unfair. Yeah. That is so unfair to say that any player in a professional football team is only good because someone's beside him. I think what we need to do as a fan base, and I know it's easy for me to say because I never let go of the Bielsa here, but I think what we need to do is try let go of last season because Meslier has been great this season, and I think Struijk's been great this season, but straight away we're like, oh, they're rubbish, and it's like, well, no, they're actually not this season. I don't know many that have put a foot wrong, if I'm being totally honest. But Ben, you were going to have your say on Struijk Rodon. And I get people going, why are we comparing them? But it's we're just having a chat. Like they're both great, but I just wanted to see what people's thoughts are.
I think just on what the guy said, like the point of a defensive partnership is to get the best out of each other. That's the point.
Yeah.
If you stuck me next to Paxel Strauch, he'd be a worse player because I'm about 3'5" and carted the ball. Like, do you know what I mean? He'll be doing everything, and he'll be covering me, and then he'll lose his like. Yeah, that's the point of a partnership. The point is to find a partnership who get. You look at centre backs, right? You look at some of the legendary centre backs, and it's all about the partnership. It's all about the players they have next to them. They work together. You can't have one centre back that's really good in the side because he won't perform as well if the guy next to him isn't he didn't trust him. And what I like about, and what I'll give a boring answer, but I'll explain it. I think both of them have been excellent. I mean, we talk about who's better. I think it's really small things in it. I think you could argue for both, to be honest. What I really like about Rodon. And Pascal isn't slow, but Rodon's recovery speed is ridiculous. We saw it Bradshaw trying to chase after him when the ball went over the top. They tried that once. Rodon got there first and they didn't try it again because they knew that wasn't going to happen. And then not only that, he got the ball. Rodon, the guy was pressuring him. He just shoved him off it and ran with the ball. I love that. He's so calm, and the fact that he had that Kisnobo thing around his head, that just gave me the vibe. I loved him, mate. I love Kisnobo. What a player.
Yeah.
That you can do that side of it. And you look at a guy with a thing on his head, you think, yeah, just a bit of a unit. But he's not. He can also play with the ball. He can do everything. And Pascal next to him just can get on with his job. You don't have to worry about the left back. That helps with Byram as well, because Byram's good 1v1. You don't have to worry about, the guy next to him. He can just focus on his job. And when Pascal focuses on his job, he's a brilliant player because, like you said, his ball distribution is really good. He's good in the air. He's Pascal Strauch. He's good with the ball at his feet. He can make a mistake, but that's just in some players are like that. Even Ampadu give a pass straight to their striker that they nearly score from. You know what I mean? It happens. Yeah. I think the genuinely finding a partnership with them two has been a gem. We talk about Howard Bellis, we talk about all these players, but right now I won't change any of them for the players we will.
No.
I think that partnership just complement each other perfectly. I really do.
As a four, really, Lockie, the four that we've got, Cooper, Creswell, Rodon, Strauch's great, isn't it, for this division? And
let's be honest, we're all questioning, all of us, who's better, Strauch or Creswell. But right now, Strauch's performances, he's nowhere near getting dropped. He's been phenomenal. And if he is injured, because, he usually gets a few injuries done in a season, just Pascal, to have Cooper coming back or Creswell coming in there, that's competent centre backs at this level. That's decent.
It's also, sorry to cut you off, Lockie. It's also, fair play to him as well, because I think I said to Joe when he came on my channel, Strauch was the only player from the last game of the season in the Prem who was in the starting 11 in the Championship in our last game. So it's a credit where he could have let last season really affect his performance. But I think, he's come in and he's looked a decent player. He's looked like the player, I thought with Strauch, I was like, I thought Leeds fans were hyping him up a bit too much. I thought he was young. Something like that might happen. But I think he's absolutely, turned on this season. And I think we're seeing, like you said, a great partnership. And when you compare the two, Rodon and Pascal, I think it's fine margins. I think, that let's not compare them. Let's just enjoy them. That's what I like to say.
And what I'm just quick to just finish. I'm just going to say that all this stuff, all this good feeling and all this partnership and deciding the right players, that's down to the recruitment and Daniel Farke. He's the source of all of this.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I think they're completing each other too. That's the key. Their characteristics, their skill are completing each other. This is the centre back pairing going forward because we have a physical one on the right, able to carry the ball with aerial balls, and a more build-up minded player on the left. But honestly, these two needs to be the starting centre back pairing because I don't think we see the same with, for example, Rodon and Cooper. This is already a different in terms of characteristic and ball movement centre back. Also, we should remind this. Let's go back a few years. Rodon was acquired from Swansea to Tottenham, a top club in the Premier League. He's constantly in the Welsh squad. He was at the World Cup. Strauch played very well under Bielsa. Then he had a fall off under the managers. But before he had a fall off, he was, let's not forget that, he was in the pre-World Cup list for the Netherlands with defenders like Van Dijk, Ake, Botman, all those Dutch defenders.
Preach it, man. Preach it, because people don't want to hear it, man. Tell them.
Yeah, I think now, another thing that we should remind, is that Rodon and Strauch, of course, when we signed Rodon, they said, oh, he barely played at Spurs. He was not that good, and it was not good as it used to be for Wales, like it used to be for Wales. But look at the system. Players, you don't need to spend a splash the money like we said with Ampadu. You need players who are ready to play for this system. Rodon and Strauch are perfect for this system. And we see that because it's a ball possession-based system from the back. They touch the ball a lot from the back because they are heavily involved in the build-up. And also they communicate pretty well when we need to defend. At Ipswich, I don't think they had a bad game, honestly, because the mistakes were from the fullbacks. They tried to adapt to those situations. I saw a lot of criticism towards especially Rodon because he had an own goal at Ipswich. But if you look at the game overall, apart from the episodes of the two mistakes from the fullbacks, where they try to salvage the situation, save the day, Rodon and Strauch, I think they were very good in that game too, at Ipswich. This is the centre-back pairing going forward. And another one can be Strauch and Cresswell. With Cooper is different because he's a leader. He's someone that puts his body on the line for Leeds United, but his ball possession is different from Strauch. So you have to adapt and play a different game from the back if you have Cooper, for example, and Rodon or Cresswell on one side. So yeah, honestly, they're competing each other and they are a key with Ampadu in front of them for the way we're playing. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And what I want to do is just have a quick chat about Meslier if we can as well, because I feel that he's improved massively. And look, I said myself, prior to us scoring the goal, he was having a bit of a stinker. So it sounds a bit mad just in terms of his touches on the ball and he's had. But what I will say for him, and I don't know if this working with a new goalkeeper coach, working alongside Carl Darlow, but he looks so much more assured, Kate, in terms of when dealing with crosses. This is a Millwall side that their wheelhouse, their strong point is corners, is set pieces, is long throws. They've got Jake Cooper, who just loves to score from who's about. Now, Daniel Farke mentioned it in his post-match with Bryn, said how tall this guy is, and there was a number of occasions where he collected it, or he palmed it into an area that wasn't dangerous. So I feel that side of his game's come on massively, Kate.
Absolutely. I mean, I think he's more inclined. First of all, he's more confident, isn't he? He seems to kind of have more awareness of what kind of the sort of method of shot stopping that's available to him, and he seems more confident to do it. He's parrying a lot more than he ever did. He's coming out a lot more, and seems just generally more kind of willing to go for shots. Do you know what I mean? And sort of getting amongst it. I think personally, it's a result of, well, confidence breeds confidence, and he is a confidence player, isn't he? So, working with Nick Hammond, it's got not Nick Hammond, Ed Wootton. It's got to be helping, and Carl Darlow. So, I mean, long may it continue. To be honest with you, as much as I know about goalkeeping, seems pretty.
No, yeah, no, I think he's got. I think what I would say is for me, his one-on-one goalkeeping he's great at. It's just for me, it was maybe his commanding of the box, his catching of the ball when under pressure, etc. And maybe on another day that doesn't get given as a foul when it came through. So there is still aspects, but I just think for me, Danny, he has come on. He does look like he is improving, and I think maybe the drop down to the Championship, like with Nanto, as Lockie mentioned earlier, even Somerville, these haven't played a lot of men's football, really, if we're being totally honest, at a top level. And the Championship, outside of the Europe's top 5 leagues, is a top level and demands different things of you. So I think it's a real great place to learn your trade. Mellier's had a bad 18 months, 2 years, come back down, real chance to build confidence. And I still think, for me, we've got a goalkeeper there that can be our goalkeeper in the Premier League and can be here long term. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, I agree. But what I'll start with is, I don't think the club or Meslier expected to be here at this point of the season. I think the club were looking to get rid of him, and I think Meslier were just holding out for a move somewhere else, anywhere but Chelsea, apparently. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, obviously, just nipping back to last season, it got that bad that Big Sam took him out of the team. Do you know what I mean? And Big Sam came into the club saying, "There's not one good player here." Do you know what I mean? And I mean, as for confidence as for a goalkeeper, you need to start getting clean sheets, and he's now acquiring them now. And I think that now he's got Darlow on the bench, looking at wanting his shirt and starting position. I think that also gives him a bit of a boot up the backside to say, right, I need to up my game. I remember when we came on at that Arsenal game, his distribution, we were all like, whoa, do you know what I mean? There's a gem here. And I just don't, there's just obviously it's been a bad 18 months, like you say, but his one-on-ones are great. But I just sometimes his thinking cap's not on, and he really, I mean, he had Klaassen. I mean, Klaassen's not ready for this level. Never mind, the Premier League.
Him on loan.
Yeah, they should have sent him on loan. I mean, Klaassen can play for my Saturday team league if he wants. We're looking for a keeper. If not, it's me in it. But other than that, I think you're right, Joe. Yeah.
Can I just say as well that Michael just reminded me of something, that there are times when he's really, really slow on the ball, like dilly-dallying at the back with his foot on the ball. And there was one point yesterday where I was just like screaming at him to get the fucking ball at the pitch. I mean, for God's sake, how long was he taking? It was ridiculous. Meanwhile, all the Millwall players had regrouped. But do you know what I mean? Was there anybody to distribute the ball to? I don't know. There seemed to be. He could have wellied it up the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
I think one thing Millwall did. Sorry, I was just saying one thing Millwall did very well yesterday. They had two at the top, right, Nesbitt and Bradshaw, and they sat between the centre backs. So they kind of cut off the obvious options and made us think, right, if you want to play out from the back, you're going to have to take that risk. And I think that was where the hesitation, his distribution might have come into it, thinking, oh, actually, should I do that? And if he does boot it, which at times we all want because we just get scared when we play out from the back, though, even still, let's be honest. I think if he does that, Daniel Farke absolutely destroys him. I think he's trying to fight in that battle of, do I play that risky pass into midfield quickly? Because obviously with them two up top, it was hard to play at the centre-backs at times. So I do get it. It is frustrating. He does hesitate at times. He does. And he's still finding that. But for me, with Meslier, he got battered like last season, just constantly every game. He was expected to make 7 or 8 saves to keep you in it, one and he was just totally battered. And you're talking about a guy who's, I think when we came up in his first season, was being tipped for the French national team, as in the main one. And now he don't even get in the 21s of the French side. This guy's been battered, and I think just the basic stuff needs to be sorted first, and that's he's just saving shots. He had 2 shots to save at the weekend. One was when the guy cut in, he got down well, good hand to it, good area when he saved it, and the 1v1 in the second half where he just stood up strong. That's what we just need from him right now. And I think once the basics come back for Meslier, we might see a more confident guy who takes those risks in passing. Because you are right, Kate, he did hesitate a lot, and it is frustrating. But I just think for him now, getting the basics right, and Daniel Farke, accepting that. Yeah, I think give it up until around about November, December, around Christmas time, to really get, because for 2 years he's been battered, hasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Fair, absolutely fair point. Yeah.
No, I'm glad he's recovered his form, but first of all, we need to get back to the Premier League. Right now, I don't know if we got back to the Premier League and be a starting keeper, to be fair, but in the Championship so far, if he keeps performing like he's performing, of course, his ball distribution needs to be better. His awareness is improved. His communication with the defense has improved. Of course, I agree, honestly, on the fact that probably the change in the goalkeeping stuff has done wonders for him right now. But yeah, in the future, I don't know, honestly, because it's been also in the last 2 seasons, it's been an ups and downs keeper. If he can keep this form, honestly, of course, he can return into the French side, exactly. But he needs to perform. I'm glad we brought in Darlow, because it's going to be a challenge for him. He needs that. If he doesn't, we have a backup ready and eager to start in front of him, and it's good competition, this one. I really like this. Because there's no design number one. There's no design number one, basically. Then not say we brought in Darlow to be the number 2.
Yeah. Listen, he's dealt with a lot at such a young age, and it'll only do wonders for his confidence long term. To be honest, and I still back him, to the hill. We're coming up to an hour, so I don't want to keep people too long. I'm just trying to think. How can I? Right, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Hull, actually. Danny, I want to know what changes you'll make and what the result's going to be, pal.
I'll probably, if everyone's fit and able, I'd probably keep the same starting 11. I mean, why change it? I did the 3 peaks yesterday, and obviously the
just so casual when he said that.
Just sticking that in there.
No, just 25 miles. No, just do that for a breakfast. 9 hours 48 minutes, if you're wondering.
Oh, wow. Good time,
sorry. So like the signal was like sporadic and stuff, and I saw the team sheet and I thought, it's really good. So I'd start with that starting 11 again, and maybe bring on maybe Anthony, because I thought he were good when he came on in bits, and when I saw the 3rd goal come through, I nearly picked a sheep up and started running away with it. But other than that, I think it was great, mate. Do you know what I mean?
So your no changes, Hull City. What's it going to be?
3-1.
If you heard that sound, fucking now.
What has he done?
There's fucking absolutely. What are you looking at, man? Yeah, it's right. Okay, 3-1. Did you say, or 3-0?
3-1.
Kate, would you go along with that, or would you like to see a little bit of fresh legs?
Oh, this is so difficult, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of like, do you make a change when it's working so well? Maybe, I don't know, start Dan James, perhaps. I don't know. Oh, God, if it's kind of like not broken, don't fix it. But then, of course, we've got like the match at the weekend. So it's so difficult. I don't know. I think we can get a win, though. I'm going to say 2-1.
Okay, I'm quite surprised. No changes as of yet. We've got a squad. Ollie, about you? Any changes, mate?
Again, similar with legs. It depends who's feeling it. If everyone's fit to go, I think it can be a risk sometimes changing it. I personally wouldn't, start someone like Dan James. I think it was the perfect, tactical masterclass from Farke to bring him on when legs are gone in the 70th on counters. I think they could do the same here. I think maybe the one change we could make is maybe Archie. I think he's been fantastic, obviously, but he's a young guy. Got to look after him. I could see Glenn Kamara starting in the middle of the park, or Grover, one of them. That's the only change I maybe would make. But I don't think you can change the back 4 or the front 4, really. And yeah, I personally do believe the score's going to be. I think it's going to be tight. I know we've been very good our last game, but I think this will be a bit of a different game. I'm actually going to go for 1-1, which is a bit boring. Yeah,
a lot of people have said that.
Boring.
Yeah, very boring. Sorry. Don't unsubscribe.
No, no. Honestly, I mean, before I come, I think we'll win. I think Hull City will play a style that's gonna suit Leeds United, and I think we'll. Yeah, listen, I know they've had a lot more rest than us, but I think and I think that's why we will see quite a lot of changes. If I'm being totally honest, I think we might see Jadon Anthony start. I think we could see changes in midfield. I don't think he changes Ampadu, but I think we could see a change with Gray, maybe Kamara potentially. Maybe even Byram comes out for Shackleton just because of his fitness levels. So I think we might see a few, if I'm being totally honest, especially with Hull City having since Friday and us playing Sunday and then again on Wednesday. So I think we might, but I still think we will win the game. Honestly, I think we'll have another clean sheet. I'm going to go 2-0. Lockie, thoughts?
It's a tough one because I usually say yes, but I think Daniel Farke has his 11 and he likes them. Like we saw with Byram, came back from injury. We all said, didn't we, that we think Shack'll start left back, and Byram just came straight into it. And I think when they do the fitness stuff this week, if they're not showing signs of fatigue, I think he'll play the same team. To be honest
What
with you,
about
I think,
Ailing? What about Ailing, Lockie?
no, 2 clean sheets. I think you'll keep them.
Why don't you want Ailing to start? Tell me
Because
why.
I don't think he can start like midweek and again at the weekend.
But he hasn't missed a minute.
We have an alternative. It's the only right back apart from Byram, but Byram is playing on the left, so
Yeah, but we've got Shackleton.
Yeah, they're playing on the left too. I think he's gonna rest Byram and play Shackleton on the left and Ailing on the right for me. That's why.
For me,
Ailing's captain as well, right? So
yeah,
for me, and I could be wrong, if he was gonna swap them.
You wait till Bamford's back in this side, kid.
No way.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know, when Byram came back, I thought if there's any game to rest Byram, he would have done it in the game yesterday. Right, with him just coming back. So I just think he's going to play him. I think he's going to play the same team. I think the one potential change could be either Archie Gray, but I just said one of the wingers as well, because you got Anthony and James who come in, could do a solid job. But they came off, like not early, but 15, 20 minutes. So that might have been to give them rest for the middle of the week. Because it wouldn't usually take them off, would it? Especially Somerville usually plays all the games. So I think that might have been their rest. We might see earlier subs. I think that is something we could see potentially, maybe around the 60-minute mark, obviously depending on how the game goes. But I could be wrong. And in a way, I hope I am. I don't want anyone to get injured, but I think it might be the same side. And well, I've not done my analysis on Hull yet. So until then, I'm going to say we're going to beat him 3-0.
I love that. Andrea, you close us out, bro. Score prediction.
Pleasure. In the preseason predictions, I said that I really liked Hull. I like them. I like the way they play, but they are a team that may struggle massively against the way we play. Look at how they struggle against Norwich. They created chances, but Norwich absolutely dominated the game in certain situations and for a long time during their game. And also against Coventry, they draw obviously at home. Coventry is another team that we've seen, especially against Leicester, can play a very offensive type of football. So honestly, I think we win 2-1. It'd be difficult because it'd be like the same as Millwall, because it was Millwall's cup final yesterday. All we know that they consider us their main rivals, so that it'd be like the most awaited game for the fans. I honestly think we'll see some changes because in the end, it's some players have played in the international break. Some other players, of course, have played a lot of games. So I think with other games coming up, crucial ones too, I think we'll see some changes. I think Byram playing the 90 minutes and Millwall will rest him. So I think he plays Shackleton there as the left back. I think we'll see Kamara starting in one position on the other. If Ampadu is fit, because he apparently had a knock yesterday. If he's fit, I think he'll play with Ampadu and Kamara. If he's not, I think he'll play with Kamara and Gray, not Gruyev. I think he'll play with two similar players there, Kamara and Gruyev. And another one, I think, not starting will be Somerville, and I think he'll play Anthony. I totally agree. Spot on, Ollie. I think James is an impact sub. He has to be an impact sub because he's shown yesterday that if you bring him from the bench when the game has slowed down or there's more spaces and the team have stretched, that can be the moment to bring Dan James in,
No, I agree. Right, great stuff. Well, we will have a preview ahead of Hull City tomorrow night, folks. So make sure you're locked in for that. Make sure you check out Not Another Leeds pod, which I think might be having Kate this Friday, is it? Or is it the next week?
Next Friday.
Next Friday, okay. Who have you got this week, Danny?
Hopefully it's Rocco who will.
Okay.
He's just trying to move some things around, but hopefully he'll be on this Friday and Kate next week.
There you go. Rocco's not with us tonight, folks, because he's just travelled back from another holiday. Joe the same as well. They've been out jet setting, haven't they? You know what I mean? It's all right for some. Kate, what's going on Leeds Birds Rants, love?
We have got. God, we're really busy. Did the final whistle tonight. Got some new stuff coming up, and all going really well. Thank you. Just like, ducking, diving, dodging and weaving.
Bit weaving away, bit way. Yeah.
bit away, bit away. Hey,
yeah. Hollywood, what's going down, mate?
Yeah, similar. I'm starting to do some new things. I just need to do more. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's bad because I feel like
Ollie, I feel like you've been saying this to me for about a year now.
I know,
so you need to pull
man.
your finger out, mate.
I know,
You know
I know. I need your work ethic clearly because but there will be some stuff there. So subscribe if that doesn't draw you, and I don't know what doesn't.
Yeah. Go check out Ollie Ward, Mr. Locke.
Yeah, just match analysis, player ratings, all that good stuff. I'm thinking of doing a little puff piece on Ampadu to make him look even better.
Yeah,
potentially, or maybe the fullbacks, the role of fullbacks, something like that will come in the next few days.
Do a piece on Zinchenko 2.0, will you?
Yeah, well, that's for you, Joe. Yeah.
Thank you, mate. Give me. I was going to say something rude then, but we won't go there. Don't matter. And Andrea, you can catch his musing on basketball, on volleyball, on football, on every single sport you can see. Yeah, Andrea follows it anyway. But listen, thanks as always for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm actually going to do Newcastle AC Milan tomorrow because I'm interested to see how Newcastle get on in the Champions League. So that'll be fun.
Tough game for them.
Yeah, very tough, but it'll be enjoyable. Press conference tomorrow as well, folks, and then a preview on the night as well. So it's all locked in now. Football started, so please keep it locked, and we will see you all in a bit. Thanks always for joining, and make sure you go and subscribe to all these great content creators. Thank you, folks.